Hey guys, I'm Fernando Escobar of Fabtv, and we're about to talk to the man, Magnus Walker. Can't wait to do this right now. Let's go.
Yes, Magnus Walker is the man. Not only is he a fashion designer, but former owner of the popular clothing brand Sirius. Walker has also managed to turn his passion for building and restoring Porsches into a successful business. He has his own TED Talk, shoe deal, and the audacity to pull up on Jay Leno in this 911T, aka the 277. Fernando and the crew, meet Magnus Walker next.
Wired for sound, Fabtv.
What a treat today. I'm here with Magnus Walker here at his Porsche Warehouse / Old Sirius clothing brand. And thank you so much for being on Fabtv.
No, thanks for coming down.
Thank you for changing your schedule, doing everything for us.
I didn't change anything. We just said and here I am.
Okay. And you know, I've noticed you have a different collection to all your cars now, not just Porsches. I saw the Ferrari, the Rolls Royce, and why
You've
is
got a good eye.
Thank you, and then the Jags, and
Yeah.
and I love that. You know, I know you love the paint job on the blue one on the inline. So I love how it's all crackled and everything. From all the Porsches that you had, now you have a new direction of going towards some other classic cars. Is that what's going on?
Well, it's not a new direction. I'd always owned other cars. Like back in the 90s, I had a 67 E-Type Jag, I had two 69 Super Bs, I had a 73 Lotus Europa, I had a 79 308 GTB Ferrari, and a handful of Porsches. So it's always been there. I'm vintage. Most of what I own is vintage from the 60s and 70s. So you got to enjoy life and make the most out of these memorable moments.
I'm a huge 911 fan, and I've noticed you got 924s and 928s here. So are you?
I also got a 944 and a 968 right there.
Right, a 968. So why now is this after you got all the 911s? You got these other ones in?
Well, it's back to variety. So for me, when it comes to Porsche, I'm a goal-orientated collector, and obviously air-cooled 911s are really cool. I've owned them for over 30 years. But if there's a Porsche badge in it, it's back to that variety thing. I like to experience everything Porsche's made in a sports car, whether it's front engine, mid engine, rear engine, whether it's air or water cooled. So for me, it's about variety. No two things do the same.
Right.
So 924, 928, 944, 968.
Did the paint job have something to do with it? Because this paint job really turns me on, like this. Or did you add the stuff to it?
No, it's interesting. This is a 1980 924 turbo. These three are basically all 1980 924 turbos. This was Porsche's first front-engine water-cooled transaxle production turbo, raced at Le Mans in 1980.
Wow.
This is Al Holbert's version. Al Holbert was a Porsche factory racer. He raced at Le Mans. He had a dealership. In the 80s, he designed his own wide-body kit to transform a lowly 924 turbo into this wide-bodied special. So this was a car that sort of fell into my lap. I liked it because of the way it looked. And it is a piece of Porsche history. So you got bone stock 1980 turbo, 1980 Al Holbert wide-bodied, semi-Le Mans GTR inspired, and then next to it, perhaps the holy grail of 924 turbos, the 924 Carrera GT, of which Porsche made 406 of those.
Well, when I saw some of the pieces they made on you, and I saw that you guys drove over and that you had your cars at Peterson's. Yeah. What an honor! How amazing! How like crazy that happened.
Yeah, well, it was pretty cool. I mean, this is LA, you know, crazy things happen. It's a crazy town, as you know. Mm-hmm. You're in the crazy world right here.
Yeah.
UO10 Exhibition was the 10-year anniversary of Tamir Moscovici's award-winning 32-minute short documentary film called Urban Outlaw that came out October 15th, 2012. So October 15th, 2022 was the 10-year anniversary of that film. I teamed up with the Peterson to do something a little unique, something that hadn't been done at the Peterson before, one person's standalone collection. So for me, it was a great sense of accomplishment. It was a great achievement to do something that I'd never done before, have all 10 of my cars driven at the same time. I've had 2 or 3 of my cars driven at the same time, but to see 10 of them in motion, from here to the Peterson Museum, even though it's only 8.5 miles, it was quite an experience.
But that was the coolest part, going over the bridge and all the action. You guys were all staying together.
Yeah, we got lucky. It was a guerrilla-style drive. You know, we didn't run any red lights. We all made it through. No one broke down. And so the 10 cars that were on display was just part of the 10 years of disruption since the film came out. So I had my 924 Carrera GT there, representing front engine water cooled. I had my 73 914 Art car representing mid-engine. And of course I had some 911s, both air and water cooled, covering all the bases.
Let's go over to 911s here.
Okay.
So tell me about this one. This one's, I love the paint job and I love the effects here.
Yeah, this was another car that was on display at the Peterson. It's perhaps my most performance-orientated build to date. Started life as a 1990 964. The goal here was not to backdate, not to go wide body, which is popular with the 964 model. To keep most of the 964 DNA intact, i.e. big bumpers, rockers, but change everything about it. So there's inspiration from the 356, a Sport Classic, the roof Yellowbird. It's the first car with the louvered fenders, through the gas filler, through the fender, channeled hood, channeled roof, rain gutter delete, reprofiled 3-liter turbo, integrated R turn signals with a 993 3.8 RS spec motor, rolling on my own 17-inch Outlaw wheels, stopping on Brembo Club Race brakes, suspension set up by KW coilover. As it sits with half a tank of gas, it weighs 2,560 pounds.
Wow.
So performance-wise, the most performance-orientated build. Style-wise, got the most body modifications in it. But it's painted in this rather subtle shade of Outlaw slate gray. I'm used to doing these color block multi-stripe color combos. So it's almost like a gentleman's racer, but it's a little bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing because it really packs a punch with a 3.8 RS spec motor in a chassis weighing 2,560 pounds. So
let me ask you a question here. So I know you don't build cars for anybody, but like if someone wanted to come in here, like let's just say I come met you, I'm like, would you sell this car to me?
No.
And then you wouldn't sell it?
No.
Okay. Not at any price, like $1 million?
No.
Write you a check?
No.
Wow.
See, for me, this is a hobby. You know, it's not a business. A lot of people have asked me that question. You see here, there's no one here. For me, ultimate freedom is doing whatever I want when I want to do it. The hobby becomes a business. I'm tied into people like yourself that have deadlines and expectations that have to be managed. Then the hobby sort of becomes a job, and when it becomes a job, the fun gets sucked out of it. It's not actually for sale.
Okay. I just had to ask you that.
Hey,
it's like,
no problem.
Like if I'm a Porsche fan, I need.
Yeah,
Let's talk about, you know what? Let's talk about your toys for 1 second, because I brought you a toy. I bought you a Porsche dealership.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Because I brought all the toys. I'm thinking, I don't think he has that.
Yeah.
And you didn't. And you know, me too. I collect all kinds of Porsche toys. Why do we do this? Why do you do it?
Well, humans like to collect, I've discovered. Whether it's cars, stamps, guitars, you know, watches, whatever it may be. I think humans like to collect. For me, people give me stuff. You give me stuff. I got plenty of space to put it. You know, everyone has a Hot Wheels story. I teamed up with Hot Wheels in 2016. They said, would I be interested in designing cars with them? The very first one I ever did was right there. See that? 2016, Hot Wheels, right there. Boom. So that was the very first one. This one here was the second one. Now, 7 years later, or whatever it is, over 35 cars done with Hot Wheels.
So cool.
So the greatest thing about Hot Wheels is, you know, everyone has a Hot Wheels story, right? You can pick these up anywhere for 99 cents at any sort of grocery store or whatever. These are great things for me to give out to people when they come in. I always carry one around. And so halfway through the collaboration, Hot Wheels said, would I be interested in doing non-Porsches? And I'm all about doing cool stuff with cool people. So that was when that came out.
You know what's funny?
That led into a Mini right there, Rule Britannia. Look at that one.
Whenever I'm at a supermarket, I always look for, I can't find Porsches ever.
Oh, really?
I try to find one, and it's like, it's all the other cars except Porsches.
Yeah. Well, these go pretty quick. I've been fortunate enough that, for example, there's 8 different variations of 277. You know, there's also my 964 right there, right here, modeled into its own Hot Wheels.
Hey, why? Well, okay, I'm big into numbers myself, by the way, numerology. Why 277?
It's a purely random number. I started racing with the Porsche Owners Club back in 2002. My birthday was 7/7/67. I'm 55 years old. When it came time to get a race number, I just wanted a number with some 7s in it. That was the only number available. So the sum of the parts of the car, nothing special. Significance of the number, nothing special. But this car has gone on to become a Hot Wheels. It's in the Need for Speed video game. It's in the CSR racing game. It spawned a Nike shoe. It spawned multiple editions of the book that first came out in 2017, now translated into Japanese, German, and 3 different English versions of it. So people relate to the car because the sum of the parts is everyone's built their dream car, whether it's a Datsun 510, an Opel, a Sport Import Tuner, whatever it may be. everyone has their dream car, whether it was a car they grew up with, the car they first learned to drive in, the car the granddad gave them, whatever it may be.
What was your first Porsche?
Well, my first Porsche was the third car I ever owned. And my first Porsche I ever bought was a 1974 911 slant nose conversion that I bought 31 years ago, back in 1992, at the Pomona swap meet.
Wow.
And I paid $7,500 for my first Porsche. That represented ultimate freedom.
This is a nice one. What's the story behind this? This one looks like it was a race car.
The whole goal behind this car was to emulate as if it was a race car. I bought it from my buddy Felix Hull solely because of the yellow door with the arrow on it, which inspired me to do this mod-inspired livery based around sort of pop art and British rock bands touring in the 70s. So the goal was, imagine, you'd found an old race car that had gone through a lot of different liveries, that was parked out in Palmdale in the desert, under a tarp and sun faded out. That was the goal. How we executed that, Felix and I, was based on a couple of drawings that I did. So what I do is I take a photo, and then I got out my Sharpies and pens, and then I started doodling and came up with these renderings. And if you look at it on the roof right here, zoom in on that, these were Post-its that I put on it. You can see here.
Oh, they're Post-its, yeah.
Coloring. And then I ended up taking this car to the SEMA show in Vegas in 2019, displayed it with Mobile One. But the cool part to the story was, it took Felix and myself probably 3 days of old school labor taping on. This wasn't a graphic program printed out of Illustrator, which was laid out. This was hand done, hand lined, paper taped, rattle canned. And we were at SEMA with less than $500 worth of materials and 4 days of converting this lowly 1.7 liter 914 into this 914 art car that we debuted at the SEMA show.
How did this deal come about you getting on this old school look with your 277 number? And
well, like most things that happen here, I'm a bit of a lone wolf, one-man army. There's no management, no agent, no marketing behind me, but people approach me to do cool shit. Nike was no different. I got approached by Nike, hey, would you be interested in collaborating on a sneaker with our pro skater, Ashod Ware? And I go, sounds epic, but I gotta let you know I don't skate. They go, it doesn't matter, we love your aesthetic. Ashod's a Porsche owner, we think you guys will get along. So what I did with Nike was really no different to what I did with the 914. See, I dated it. You guys should zoom in on this.
Yeah, you guys should.
Yeah, zoom on in. We're gonna show the date.
You're kind of staying far away a little bit here.
So I dated this. See the date? What does that say?
March 25th, 2020.
Right at the beginning of COVID.
Wow.
I only ever did 2 illustrations, hand done. This is not some Photoshop, Illustrator, AI, computer generated. This is old school. Second drawing, April 2nd, 2020. These are the original drawings. So the goal was to sort of build a shoe around the car. This was the very first sample ever made. See, I'm putting Outlaw on in a Sharpie. I'm going around 277. This is blue. The final production sample that came out, we'd called it, Nike there. There's 277 on it. We've lost the blue. It got watered down slightly, but not much. If you look at the original drawings right here, you look at the insole, not tremendously different. You look at this one where I actually colored the bottom sole, not tremendously different at all.
Wow. That's so tight.
That shoe came out 2021. It sold out in 8 minutes. So
this gut feeling that you have has always worked for you.
Yeah, because I'm one of those guys that I don't really care what other people think, because sometimes other people don't think the same way. I think a lot of people have great ideas. They ask the buddy, hey, I'm thinking of doing ABC, and the buddy might say, oh, that's not a great idea. It'll never happen. So ideas don't cross the start line. If you're not worried about what other people think and you go with your own intuition, which I've always done, then anything's possible, and no one's going to sidetrack you and derail you from your vision.
Huge lesson.
So that's kind of my story.
Huge.
Believe in yourself, have self-confidence, find what you love, never give up, put the effort in, do the hard work. Like when we bought this building. Bought this building in 2000, 23 years ago. It's now 121 years old. People thought we were crazy when we bought it. Said, oh, it's not a great idea. If we'd never bought the building, we'd have never got in the film business. The film business allowed me to own more cars than I ever thought I would own. Also allowed me to live and work in the space at the same time.
Yeah.
So the building became the catalyst for everything else that happened within the building, things that we're talking about now. So pre-internet, pre-Instagram, pre-all that stuff, Sirius Clothing was a pretty popular wholesale brand. We had our own retail store on Melrose. We sold to the chain Hot Topic when they had 5 stores. We grew with them to 500 stores.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of volume there. We outfitted everyone from Alice Cooper to Madonna and a lot of people in between. But it was a passion project. I grew up listening to Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses. It was sex, drugs, rock and roll. So coming here as a teenager in the 80s, this was rock and roll heaven. I didn't have to cut my hair and get a real job that may have happened in England.
Right.
I've had long hair for the past 40 years. That hasn't changed. So to me, I love this environment. It's creativity, there's creative people. Whatever you want to do in LA, whether you want to be an actor, a TV host, a presenter, a rock star, a yoga teacher, a surfer, a car designer, there's the infrastructure to get it done here.
In part 2 of our interview, Magnus unveils an exclusive collection of Porsches that you won't believe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit that little bell icon to stay up to date for the latest videos.